morning. I hope you're doing well, that you're having an amazing day today. Thank you for taking the time to check out my video. If you are interested in the new Jeffree Star Blood Sugar Palette that's set to release within the next couple of days, perfect for Valentine's Day makeup, I am so excited because it inspired me to reach once again for my Pan That Palette, the Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette, especially with the color wheel side with all of those pinks and kind of orangey reds and purples, because these are fun pops of color. That palette that Jeffree Star is releasing is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, but at the same time, I'm the type of person, I get really excited to shop my stash in instances like this because these are not necessarily colors that I would wear every single day. So I was inspired by the look that he wore as he talked about the palette release, and I did not see swatches of the shadows, but he did kind of talk about why he chose those particular shades, the shade names behind it. So I'm going to go on and insert a picture right here of what the Blood Sugar palette looks like, and then as we go through this Get Ready With Me, I'll kind of talk you through how I'm, recreating the look using what I currently have with my Kat Von D palette. I was also thinking about it, if you have the Urban Decay Electric palette, this would be a really fun time to also bring out that, or if you have the MAC Red Hot times 9. Let me go on and insert a picture of that in the card above. A lot of those same shades are kind of similar to the ones in the Kat Von D, and also as I saw pictures of the Jeffree Star palette, I was like, this would be a really great time to show those shadows some love if you have them in your collection. So as for this eye look, like I said, I'm inspired by the look that he wore in that particular video, and so what I noticed he had on his lid was kind of a reddish orangish pink, a pink in his transition area, a deepened purple in his outer V kind of crease area, and then he had like a pink highlight on, and then like his brow bone, I don't believe he used, or maybe he did use the stark white in there. I kind of went with more of a cream direction just because I'm currently painting that shade out of my palette, but you can go with a stark white. And then like as far as the rest of the face, he kept his blush fairly neutral, and then he was wearing a really kind of a brightened pink purplish nude. It was a really bright lipstick, but not dark and saturated. So today I'm wearing a bright bold red lip. Yesterday I wore this very same look with the MAC pencil in Whirl topped with Bite Beauty's Chai. I've worn it with a really nude lip. I've worn it with bold purple. I've worn it with a pink lipstick. So it's really, really fun to be able to play with these kind of bright colors, because they were something that I was a little bit intimidated by to tackle further on in the year from Kat Von D. So if you're interested in shopping your stash to recreate this very look at home, go on and continue watching. Okay, as we get started with this Get Ready With Me, I was really inspired looking at the Blood Sugar palette. I'm going to go on and keep that picture up here just as kind of a reference material. But I was really inspired by the reds, the pinks, the purples of this palette. And then with the look that he wore, I'll also include that in a picture over here. This is the look that I'm kind of mimicking, because when I looked at his eyeshadow on his lid, he definitely has that reddish orangish shade that I'm assuming is Prick. And then he's got like a deeper red, kind of pinkish color in his crease, along with some purple, the deepened plum on the outer corner of his eye. And so I thought this would be easy enough to recreate with my Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette. So as we get started into this Get Ready With Me, the first thing I'm doing, I made Big Time Friends with the NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in Milk. This is really, really awesome to make the shadows stand out, especially with my Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette. So I'm going through all over my lid just to make that color really pop as I wear it throughout the day. And then I'm taking an e.l.f. C brush, it's just a flattened shader brush, and I'm going through with the shade Destroyer from my Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette. As I'm looking at the Blood Sugar palette, it most closely resembles Prick in my opinion, and you can make it look redder or oranger or pinkier depending on what you pair it with. I feel like when I wear it with a saturated red lip and red clothes and kind of the red shadows on the rest of my eyes, it really brings in kind of that fire engine quality to it. So I'm taking it all over my lid and patting it in with that e.l.f. C brush. You can make it as dark as you want. You can make it as sheer as you want. I figure let's go full ham since right now is a wonderful time to wear red eyeshadow and really embrace it. So this is, I mean, that's a big step out of my comfort zone. I don't know about you. So it makes me that much more excited to shop my stash, to be honest. And then as we go into the transition shade, I really like the candy shade in the Blood Sugar palette. So I went through with this e.l.f. blending brush, it looks like this, and I'm taking the shade Swoon from my Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette. I'm running that all in my crease area because I'm going to blend it in with some deeper shadows just to kind of give a cohesive look. And again, when you pair that, you know, kind of bright hot pink against the Destroyer shade on the lid, you can kind of start to see the difference without it looking muddy and like blended together. So I can tell there's a hot pink, I can tell there's a reddish orange, so really, really fun. And again, it kind of mimics Jeffree's like whole pinkish vibe that he has going on kind of as the foundation layer for his eyeshadow. And then after I finish that transition area, I'm actually going to use two highlighting shades. On my inner corner, I'm going through, once again, with the NYX Jumbo Eyeshadow Pencil in Milk. I'm just stamping that kind of into the inner corners of my eyes to make my highlights stand out a little bit more under my glasses. And then the next shade that I was inspired by out of that Blood Sugar palette was Candy Floss. It's one of those highlighter shades kind of on the left side of his palette. Now, Candy Floss in his creation kind of looks a little bit more stark, maybe a little bit more white in it, but as I'm looking at my Vida Loca Remix palette, I really wanted to use the shade Love. It's a really beautiful pinky shade. It's not necessarily something I would have reached for before, but when I was inspired to put all these reds and purples together, I thought this is the ideal time to really see how I feel about this shade. So I'm popping it into my inner corner. And then as far as my brow bone highlight, the Blood Sugar palette includes a stark white. I went on and decided to go kind of a more cream direction because I'm currently panning the shade Lyric out of my Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix. But I feel like you could go either way and both would be beautiful options. And then to go into crease work, I'm using two different colors. The first one I'm going through, I really wanted to bring out the blood red tones of the palette. And so I'm using this Revlon crease brush and I'm going through with the shade Rewind to just stamp that into my outer corner, and I'm blending that up into my crease. It kind of looks like, let me see if I can get this shade name. No, it's too blurry, but it kind of reminds me of that shade that's the third row from the bottom on the left, kind of that maroonish shade. I really feel like it brings out kind of more of the redder tones, and it accomplishes what I want to do with this Inspired by look. So again, I'm running that into my crease, stamping it up, I'm blending it in on both sides. And then what I'm going to do is I have an Inglot shadow in my collection that kind of mimics that purple on the end. I can't even see what that one is, but that very last purple shade on the bottom row. So I'm going through with this Makeup Professionals or MUA Professional blending brushes. It's a really small tapered brush, and I'm going through with this Inglot shade right here, and I'm stamping that into the very outermost corner of my outer V, and then just blending it up. And that way, as you look at my eye, you'll get the dynamics of having the purple to the Rewind to the hot pink to the Destroyer shade on the lid, if that makes sense. So really, really super easy. And again, that shade is quite dupeable because you probably already have multiple deepened plums or blackish plums in your collection, or even going through with a deep bright purple, or if you have ultraviolet shades, since that's the color of the year, this would be a phenomenal time to bring those out and show them some love. So super, super easy. Then in terms of liner, I kept mine simple because I'm currently working on painting my MAC liner in Costa Riche. So I went more of a brown direction. I figured with the pinks and the reds and the purples, it's kind of like a chocolate covered cherry kind of situation. The brown would tie in nicely, or you can use a black. You can tight line, you can line your upper lash line, whatever you choose to do. So I went through with Costa Riche on my upper lash line, and then I set it with the shade Vox from my Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette. And then I'm using a MAC NC15 NW20 Studio Chromographic pencil on my waterline. Then as we get to the lower lash line, I really liked that he used a purple because I feel like not only is that a beautiful cohesiveness with what we've got going on our upper eyes, but if you have brown eyes, this really is going to make them pop without making you look sickly, because I know wearing red eyeshadow can be very intimidating, reds and pinks, because it can make you look deathly ill, it can make you look washed out. But again, tying it in with those purples and browns and adding some dimension here and there will really help you out to make it quite flattering for the rest of your face when your makeup is completely done. So in terms of lower lash line, this is a favorite go-to that I've done with several Get Ready With Me's so far this year. I'm taking my Maybelline Lasting Drama Waterproof Gel Eyeliner in the shade Polished Amethyst. I'm running this on my lower lash line just halfway because my eyes are hooded, and then I'm setting it with the shade Anthem from my Vida Loca Remix palette. It's kind of like the purple shade that's in the second row to the far right. So again, this shade is one that it's really, really trendy right now. If you have multiple bright palettes, you definitely have this in your collection. If you don't have the Vida Loca Remix palette or the Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette, or like MAC's Vibrant Grape, because I've talked about substitutions you can bring in for these in other videos of mine. You could also go in with the Urban Decay Afterglow Blush in Bittersweet. That's another beautiful option. I have it right here. It's pretty much the exact same shade. So another way to kind of multitask that particular eyeshadow. Then, as far as the rest of my face goes, in blush, I really wanted to keep the rewind trend kind of going, like with that bloody, kind of maroonish shade. Wow, that sounded really terrible, but you know what I mean. So I wanted to keep the burgundy kind of maroon tone. That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? So I'm going through with my Clinique Cheek Pop in the shade Cola Pop because I personally cannot get enough of this blush right now. It is super flattering if you have fairer skin tones and dark hair, so don't be afraid to wear a color like this. Jeffree's blush in his video was on the neutral side, or you can also wear this with a brightened pink. You can wear it with something like Tarte's Exposed. You have a lot of flexibility to reach for multiple things in your collection as you shop your stash. But like I said, this color is everything to me right now. Like I love it, love it, love it. And it ties in the eye look quite nicely with those reds and the purples down to the rest of the face. And then today's lip, I happen to be wearing my MAC lip liner in the shade Cherry. I went on and lined my lips and I filled in the corners because these reds tend to bleed just a little bit. And then for lipstick, I have on an old, it's been a while, but it's one of those limited edition lipsticks from MAC. It is in the shade Damn Glamorous. And the reason I chose this is because it has a little bit of a pinkier tone to this red, but also if you have Russian red, that would be a gorgeous option. Or if you want to wear Ruby Woo, that would be fabulous. The lip color that Jeffree's wearing in his video is kind of a glossy nude pink purple. And then, like I mentioned before, in yesterday's video that I uploaded, I was wearing this very same eye look with my MAC Whirl lip liner in the shade Chai from Bite Beauty, just as kind of a My Lips But Better kind of situation. I've also worn this with a deep plum lipstick, like a purple, if you want something a little bit more editorial looking. So just have a lot of fun with it. Have a blast shopping your stash. This is really fun to wear this all through as we get ready for Valentine's Day. You can amp it up with some false lashes, wear it with a dark lip to go out for the evening on Valentine's Day. And again, it's just really fun to go through and see what you have in your collection, because while that Jeffree Star palette is gorgeous, I feel like I'm having more fun shopping my stash for something like this because it's really giving me some incentive to wear some of those brighter shades that I don't necessarily reach for. So again, if you have the Urban Decay Electric palette, the Red Hot x9 palette from MAC, the Kat Von D Vida Loca Remix palette, the Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette, the NYX Ultimate Brights palette that you can find at Target right now that comes in the little square that has all the colors. You have a lot of options available to you if you want something other than purchasing the blood sugar palettes. So have fun with it. Thank you so much once again for giving me a little bit of your time today. I hope that you enjoy this look as much as I have, because it's super fun and definitely different. You can make it very wearable instead of looking so editorial, so don't be afraid to wear some hot pinks and reds to work. And to do your day-to-day activities, because you know what, makeup is fun. It's time that we you know, just have fun and be creative, and don't be afraid of what it's going to turn out like, because you never know, you may fall in love with it. So I know I certainly have. I'm not as afraid to use hot pink eyeshadow anymore. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Adios.